News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make that a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I cannot believe we're already in the third hour, but here we are. Stubbornly high rents prevent the Fed from finishing the inflation fight. This from the Wall Street Journal today. Stalled inflation has not derailed the Fed's reserves plan to cut interest rates eventually. It expects, why? Because it expects a slowdown in housing costs to eventually drag inflation close to its 2% target. The problem, the Journal says, is it's been waiting for that slowdown for 1.5 years. For a housing slowdown. Some analysts worry it's not going to happen because of the changing dynamics in the housing market. If so, that would significantly weaken the case for lower rates. Housing had played a major role in inflation because it carries so much weight and it's so large of a weight on us, isn't it? It's so expensive. Market rents surged 3 years ago. And what does that mean? Single-family home rents rose 14% in 2022. Year over year, 3.4% this past year in February. It keeps going and going and going. All right. Then we have this also related to housing today from the Dallas Morning News. The first one was from the Journal, Wall Street Journal today. This one from the Dallas Morning News. Everybody's hurting. Low-income Dallas sites struggle with taxes as property values soar. This 67-year-old woman in the Ledbetter neighborhood of West Dallas, the total market value of her West Dallas home jumped 135% in 4 years. Wow. Her property taxes have ballooned from just under $1,850 to over $3,400. Can you believe that? Dude, an 85% increase from 2019 to 2023. She did not want to see what this year would bring. Quote, she says, there's no way I'm going to be able to pay $4,000 in property taxes when my income is $1,400 a month. Look at this, you guys. She's basically went from $1,850, basically we'll round it to $1,900, to now roughly $4,000 she estimates. From $2,000 to $4,000 in 4 years. And the Dallas Morning News says she's not the only one struggling with it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I'm doing right now in my personal life. That's so important to me to share with you, and I want to encourage you to share with me. The questions I'm asking for, I share with you my stuff, is where are you getting hit hardest from Bidenflation and Bidenomics? Where are you getting hit the hardest right now from Bidenflation and Bidenomics? How much of an impact do you think this is having on your finances? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Chime in right now. For me, I heard over the weekend that I listened to a lot of Fox News on the weekend, and I heard one of the things I heard over the weekend is the average family is paying $1,500 a month in taxes right now. Not taxes, excuse me, in inflation. We are paying $1,500 a month extra per month because of Joe Biden's inflation. If that is accurate, that means that I am paying $18,000 a year extra than I paid the year before. Or maybe it's from 2 years ago. Does it even matter, though? Do you understand what that means to me and my family? And I think it's accurate. I don't know, but here's what I think. I think it's accurate. Because we have gone from doing pretty darn well to now breaking even half the time. You know what I'm saying? When you have an $18,000 increase that's not expected, and you're literally put in a whole new situation. So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing something we typically do every year, and we have done for several years. I'm going through my finances and I'm putting together right now. I'm still finishing up. Man, it takes a long time. I'm finishing up the last 3 years of every expense we have. Excuse me, the last 3 months. So, and then when I'm done with that, I'm going to go to the next 3 months. And that'll be 6 months of the expenses over the past, 6 months, total. And then I'll do the next 3 months and the next 3 months. Eventually, I'll get to 1 year. At that point, I'm going to know exactly. But I'm talking the scintilla, which is like, this is so annoying. I don't want to do it. My wife barely wants to do it at all, too. So I'm doing most of it because it's so bad for her. She hates it. So I'm trying to look at it from a good way and say, you know what? I'm going to kind of get off on this a little bit. I'm going to know that when I have these numbers, it will be so accurate. I'm not just half blanking it. I'm doing it 100%. And so I'm doing that because I want to be accountable and I want to be wise in what I'm doing. And I want to make sure that I'm not overspending, because I think somewhere in there I'm overspending, and where am I doing that? And if I'm not, it doesn't matter. I need to cut. And me, like you, most of us, we cannot change where we live. Unless you have chosen to be house poor from the beginning, then you do need to move. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not house poor, so it's not that. And even with increases, and we did an addition, and some of it's ended up in an increase in our mortgage, but not nearly as much as it could have been. And we refied and had a lower rate than we already did, and we already had a low rate. So my point being, though, is we're not house poor. We didn't move into a house that we couldn't afford, okay? But this has hit us, and we don't realize how much, you and I, all of us. Your insurance, you're paying 22% more for your insurance today than you were last year. That is a fact. That just came out in the past month or two. And what I mean to say is your auto insurance and your home. I think it's a 22% increase with auto. I think it might just be auto. I don't know. All I know is that you and I are getting so raked over the coals. So it's insurance for your house, and it's insurance for your car. It is health insurance. It is fixing your car for your auto mechanic. It is buying a car or replacing your current car. That's why most people are holding on to their old cars longer than they ever did before. And I, for the first time, have said, instead of our cars are nowhere near 200,000 miles, but that's when we typically would get a new one. But I am now seriously considering, and it's not going to, I'm going to be fine for 5 years as far as how we do our calculations on our two cars. And the other one's going to be 8 years. So I'm not worried right now, but I'm concerned and worried about 5 years from now, which is good. You should be thinking like that versus the other way around. And I'm actually thinking for the first time ever, we're going to hold on to the car and go well over 200,000 miles. That's just a possibility. Second of all, what we've already cut back on vacations and are doing more local and regional vacations versus flying places. And we have also looked at other things. So that's kind of my thing. How about you? Where are you getting hit the hardest from Bidenflation and Bidenomics? And how much of an impact do you think this is having on your finances? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Also coming up next, I want to share this with you. The NRA is coming to Dallas this week, and there's a lot of things that come with that. Convention, the rules changing for hotels on guns, restaurants showing their true colors, like banning guns or supporting it or letting them come in. So I want to talk about that one coming up next with you and ask you if you're glad the NRA is coming to DFW again, and do you want them to keep coming here in Dallas and DFW? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. All that is next on The Chris Crock Show on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Oh, yes. I am very happy that we are having the NRA convention again in Dallas, which really means Greater Dallas-Fort Worth will be impacted in a very good way. Because first, actually, more important than being another convention that gives us more money to the area and blesses us all, whether we realize it or not, is one reason. But that's not even the reason why I'm so excited. I am glad the NRA is coming here because I support them. And I support everything that they stand for And I'm not a member. I've never been a member. And I'm never going to be one as far as I'm aware. Not because I'm against them, but because I don't feel the need for them. But I'm glad they are who they are, and I'm glad they do what they do. And I support them in every way possible, but I'm not going to pay for it. I'm cheap. On that regard, I am. Okay? So, and you know what I love about this? And they're coming this week, a little bit later this week. It will be the NRA's 153rd meeting, KB Hutchison Center downtown in Dallas, probably, a mile or two from where I'm sitting, or if not less. 650 vendors with guns and gear, covering 14 acres of exhibit space. More than 70,000 people will attend. This is the place to be for anyone who's an NRA member or a Second Amendment supporter, says the spokesperson. Trump will give the keynote. And I love that. Second of all, yes, you can carry guns at the conference, except where the president speaks, and that's because you will not be allowed to carry firearms anywhere near when the president's at an event, and that's fine. I understand that. Okay? What I love about the NRA coming to Dallas. So my question on that is, are you glad the NRA is coming to DFW again, and do you want them to keep coming here? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I'm very glad they're coming, and I want them to keep coming. And there's so many effects of it that are the most important to me. Number one, the best thing in the world is hotels. You have to understand something. I love this. For example, big hotels like the Hilton Anatole, they have a thing saying no guns ever, blah, blah, all that kind of thing. We don't allow it. Guess what they do when the NRA convention comes in? This is based on the last time. They cover up those signs. Wow, a magic wand has been waved. Wow, guns are now allowed. Wow. Woo! It shows that they don't believe they do anything. Because if they did, there's going to be tons of guns, and they're not going to worry about it. They actually banned their ban gun sign. Do you see how pathetic and hypocritical they are? So, I love that. That's what I love. Second of all, let's see. It should be, there's Ellen's Diner, ELLENS, Ellen's Diner, West End, Dallas. Yep. They are, they have two of them, I believe. They have one in, was it Plano or something like that? Hold on. Let's see, locations. They have one in West End, they have one in Costa Linda, and one at Preston and Campbell, and opening soon Fort Worth and Frisco. Ellen's, and I have nothing against them. I'm sure their food is great, but actually I totally disagree with them because of their politics. Their owner hates Trump and hates guns. Okay, so yes, here we go. This is from, there's so many, Ellen's, I'm literally in real time just pulling it up. NRA's visit to Dallas prompts Ellen's owner to get political. The restaurant receipts have a special message printed on the bottom of NRA attendees. Thanks for visiting Ellen's. A portion of this week's proceeds will be donated to organizations dedicated to implementing reasonable and effective gun regulation. Welcome to Dallas. Woohoo! You hate guns! Ah! You know what that means? I will never eat at Ellen's. You can open 100 locations. You can be next door to my house. You can offer me free food. I will never go into an Ellen's. I would rather starve than eat at Ellen's because I know its owner hates my votes. They hate the way I vote. They hate who I like. They hate my values. They hate my my guns. And they hate me for having guns and being proud of it. Ellen's Diner really, really, really hates people like me. And what I'm let me tell you this right now. I'm not mad at the owner of Ellen's Diner. I'm glad. I appreciate him for telling us how much he hates me and my values and my guns. And how much he hates Trump. And how much he hates the NRA. And I want him to know I will never eat. And I'm not, he doesn't care about me. I'm just telling you, I love this. I love it. So, yes, I love the NRA. And yes, I'm grateful for what it does. It sifts the sand and it brings out the turds like Ellen's. It lets me know where people stand. It lets me know that anti-gun people are hypocrites that will take business like the Hilton Anatole. And I don't know what they're doing this time, but I can tell you that was from previous stories about them. So that's just an example of a major Dallas hotel that changed its policies. And guess what happened? Nobody dies at the NRA conventions. Nobody dies at the Hilton Anatole when they change their policies. There's no Wild West. Bang, bang, you dead. America, Al Capone. You know, you go to like Japan or something like that. So whatever. It's a story from over the years. People say that for when you're a tourist. Oh, you're from Texas? Oh, you're from Chicago? Al Capone, whatever. We've been told that from people over the years with, tourists. So thank you, NRA. And you are always welcome here. And thank you, Ellen, for letting me know to never support you because you hate guns and hate Trump and hate us. And I'm grateful for you. Thank you. And that's it. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. And with that, a New York Times Siena poll today. Trump is now leading in 5 of 7 swing states as minorities ditch Biden. CNN's Fareed Zakaria says things that I love hearing about Trump and his chances. CNN political polls, I love what they're saying about Trump and his chances. And I want to ask you this. Do you think Biden can turn these polling numbers around and still win this fall? And do you think you and others could change your mind about how bad Biden is on inflation, immigration, and the economy and the war in Gaza? Or do you think it's going to stay this way or even get worse? In other words, do you think Biden can turn this ship around and change the people's minds on how bad he's doing with inflation, immigration, the economy, and the war in Gaza? Or do you think it's going to stay this way all the way through to the election or get even worse maybe? That's coming up next in the Chris Crock Show. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. Well, let's hear about some of the coverage here of how bad Biden's doing right now.
But you ask them what life is like, and they can't buy a bigger house because of mortgage rates. They still, when you talk about grocery prices. And so the president has to be careful here. That sounds like somebody in Washington telling people you're wrong.
All right, then we have a CNN poll on Biden's bad polling numbers.
Look, these Sunbelt battleground states, frankly, for the Joe Biden campaign, these numbers are an absolute disaster. The smallest lead is in Arizona for Donald Trump. He's up 6. Look at this, 9 in Georgia, 13 in Nevada. My goodness gracious, my God. That is a huge lead. No Democrat has lost that state since John Kerry lost it back in 2004. How about these Great Lake battleground states? This is something that the Joe Biden campaign can work with. Look, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump up 3, but that's well within the margin of error. Wisconsin, Donald Trump up 1, well within the margin of error.
Okay, so that's a little bit of taste of that. Now, let's go to Fareed Zakaria. This is bad news. Biden watches this show.
I have to admit, none of this is playing out as I thought it would. Trump is now leading in almost all the swing states, but behind those numbers lie even more troubling details. As someone worried about the prospects of a second Trump term, I think it's best to be honest about reality. I understand that polls are not always accurate, but in general, they have tended to underestimate Donald Trump's support, not overestimate it. I doubt that there are many shy Biden voters in the country. The economy has been in a robust recovery for more than 2 years now, with unemployment hitting a 54-year low in 2023 and increasing only slightly since then. But Biden is getting little credit for it. The shift here is stark. On the question of who voters trust more to deal with the economy, Trump has a 22-point lead over Biden.
Ouch. Here's one last piece of audio I wanted to share with you on this as well. Here's Fareed Zakaria and the Raging Cajun Clinton pollster who got him to elected, James Carville.
I have to admit, none of this is playing out as I thought it would. Trend lines are not working in Biden's favor. He needs to do something bold and dramatic to seize the initiative.
Trump's more ahead than he's ever been. Everything that we're throwing is spaghetti at a wall, and none of it is sticking. What we're doing is really, really not working.
That's where we're at here. By the way, one of the things I was going to tell you about RFK Jr. real fast is, as promised for the 10:30 tease at this time, I would tell you about RFK Jr. vacationed to Cuba and praised the, quote, incredibly charming Fidel Castro when he met him. He was very, very kind to me. He was interviewed in November 2023, so he said this past November. Incredibly charming. He was very, very kind to me and my family. He had very open and engaged mind. I talked to him about a million things. He said he talked to Castro about his U.S. attempts to assassinate him, etc. Now, that's RFK Jr. and where he vacationed in 1996. He first visited. And so anyways, I would never vote for him. It's just a little sidebar. There's a whole bunch more, but that's just a little taste. Now, Trump leads in 5 key states as young and non-white voters express discontent with Biden. A New York Times, a set of New York Times Siena polls, including one with the Philadelphia Inquirer, reveal an erosion of support for the president among young and non-white voters upset about the economy and Gaza. Here's what I got. Here's an overview from my buddy on that story, Eric Erickson, who blogs really well. Trump leads Biden in 5 of 6 swing states. He's significantly ahead in 4 of them. In Nevada, Trump is up 13 points. That's insane. No Democrat has lost Nevada, I think, for like decades or maybe even honestly a lot longer. It never happens. Georgia, Trump is up by 9. Arizona, Trump is up by 6. Pennsylvania, Trump is up by 3. Wisconsin, Trump up by 1. Michigan, Trump up by 1. So there you go. And here's what they also say from my buddy, his quotations here. Economic problems and the war in Gaza have expedited the trend of black and Hispanic voters leaving the Democrat Party. Young voters leaving Biden over an economy they feel has left them behind and a U.S. foreign policy position in Gaza they oppose. The most damning data point, my buddy says, only 13% of those who support Biden believe he could bring major changes in his second term. Well, even many of those who dislike Trump are grudgingly acknowledging that Trump would shake up an unsatisfying status quo. So only 13% of people who support Biden believe that he'll bring any major change in his second term. And as you just heard from Fareed Zakaria, who Biden's actually watches his show, he excoriated Biden's chances in his opening monologue. And that is one of the few shows we know Joe Biden watches regularly. So there you are. And my questions for you. Do you think Biden can turn these polling numbers around and still win this fall? And do you think that you and others could change your mind about how bad Biden is doing on inflation, immigration, the economy, and the war in Gaza? Or do you really think it's going to stay this way or even get worse for Biden? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. So, this is amazing. You look at these numbers, you see, according to the Times, quote, black and Hispanic voters who usually represent the foundation of any Democrat path to the presidency. The Times poll found the 3 groups wanted fundamental changes in American society, not just a return to normalcy. Few believed that Biden would make even minor changes that would be good for this country. Wowie, wowie, wowie. Biden and Trump tied on 18 to 29-year-olds and Hispanic voters. Wow. Each group gave Biden more than 60% of their vote in 2020. Now they're basically tied. So it was 60-40 Biden. Now it's tied with the young people. You cannot win like this. Here's what I want to tell you. I don't think it can be turned around anymore. The voters have 3.5 years of Joe Biden. He's going to be, the election is in 5.5 months. The election is 5 months and like 3 weeks from now, roughly. You can't turn around anything in 5.5 months. Now, what could happen is that a war can break out that even hurts Biden more or gets people to back him more, or something with the wars going on right now because of Joe Biden's fecklessness could get worse and hurt him even worse, or could get better or somehow take a turn where, sometimes people back the president because we're in a time of war. It could turn to something like that. But what's happening right now is not going to change anything except make it the same or worse. So it's too late to turn this boat around, is what I think, 100%. And I think that it's baked to the cake. You can't turn things around in 5.5 months. Now, with that said, a political world changes in a day. A day is, within a week to 2 weeks, everybody forgets everything and a whole new news cycle starts within 2-3 days, actually. So the point being is what's going on now and how this is now is only a snapshot in time. But when you have these bedrock, hardcore things like the economy, inflation, war, and illegals and the border, none of that's going to be changed, is what I'm saying. And those are the big issues here. And nothing's going to be changed. And in fact, Joe Biden has disgusted and angered and lost a huge percent of Israeli supporters that are liberal Democrats, Jews and others. He has been a traitor and a turncoat on Israel, and I don't see him going back because he's trying to get the Gaza vote. This man doesn't know what he's doing. It doesn't matter what his position is on Gaza or on Israel or on Hamas. The fact is, nobody believes him anymore when he says he's got Israel's back because he's totally abandoned them. It's breathtaking. So the problem is he can't do this. Trump will not change his stance in this situation. The people who back Israel will be grateful for Trump. The people who hate Israel and support Hamas, they don't have Trump's vote anyways. So this is not an issue with him. So this is only going to help Trump, and it destroys Biden. The bill 800-288-WBAP is our number on that, 800-288-9227. Do you think Biden can turn these polling numbers around and still win this fall? And do you think you and others could change your mind about how bad Biden is on inflation, immigration, the economy, and the war in Gaza? Or do you think it's going to stay this way or get even worse? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Here's a real bad sign for Joe Biden. What happens right now on the polling numbers? What do the polling numbers show for, in these key swing states where Biden's losing to Trump? How about the other politicians on the ticket? How are other Democrats running in key Senate races in these swing states? Are the statewide elections showing their pollsters getting hurt too, or is it only Biden in the Democrat area? Wait till you hear this. It's extremely telling. That's next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. Bill Clinton's former pollster. If you're just joining us, the New York Times Siena poll coming out today showing that Biden is way behind in 5 key states. Well, Biden is losing in 5 key states to Trump as young and non-white voters express discontent with him. They're ditching him over the Gaza war and the economy. So, do you think that it's kind of baked into the cake at this point that this is going to be how this election goes down this fall no matter what? Because of these horrible polling numbers and because things like war, immigration, with illegal immigration, the inflation, the economy cannot be rolled back and changed in the next 5 months to a point where people would change their minds. Is it basically over at this point in that regard? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you think these polling numbers can be turned around and Biden still win this fall? Or do you think you and others What do you think you and others could change your mind about this? How bad he is on inflation, Biden is on inflation, immigration, the economy, and the war in Gaza? Or do you actually think it's going to stay this way or get even worse? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Well, Bill Clinton's pollster says to Joe Biden, ditch the wokes. Mark Penn, the moderate Democrat pollster for Bill Clinton back in the day, and the current head of the Harris poll, which is a very respected and quoted poll, has a brutal direct message for Biden campaign in the page of the New York Times, says my buddy Eric Erickson. In the Times, it says, quote, Mark Penn writes, I've spent decades looking at the behavior of swing voters and how candidates appeal to them, including for Bill Clinton's reelection campaign in 96. If Mr. Biden wants to serve another 4 years, he has to stop being dragged to the left and chart a different course to get closer to the center of that appeals to those voters who favor bipartisan compromises at core issues, fiscal discipline, and a strong America. Not going to happen. Everybody knows it. He's only gone left and left and left, and he hasn't changed the trajectory because he listens to what the people in charge tell him to do. And guess what else? Here's the real problem. This tells you everything. Are you ready? From The Hill today. Democrats are running ahead of Joe Biden in 4 key Senate races. So what does that tell you? The Democrats who are running for Senate are beating Biden's numbers. So other Democrats on the ticket right now in statewide races for U.S. Senate are ahead, where Biden is behind. So the same people saying no to Biden are saying yes to Democrat senators. See that? So it's not bad polling. It's polling saying, hi, I'm a Democrat, and I usually vote for Democrats for president and senators, but I will not vote for Biden because of this economy or because of immigration or inflation or all of them. Wow. This is from The Hill today. Democrat Senate candidates are performing better than Joe Biden in 4 key battleground states and leading their GOP rivals, showing hope for the party as Biden remains neck and neck with former President Trump in the race for the White House. The New York Times Siena poll found the Democrat candidate leading in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona, 4 states expected to have tight presidential margins. The Times found Trump is leading Biden in 3 of the 4 states, and Biden clinging to a small lead in Wisconsin. However, in Pennsylvania, Bob Casey, Democrat for Senate, holds a 5-point lead over his rival, the GOP rival. But yet, Trump is leading Biden by three points there. So you have the Democrat senator running 5 points ahead, while Biden is behind 3 points in the same poll. That's amazing. That's an 8-point spread between Bob Casey and Joe Biden, and they're both Democrats. In Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin, who I know and I don't despise her, but I despise her voting. In Wisconsin, I used to work and live in Madison, so I know exactly who she is. In Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin, U.S. Senator, has a sizable 9-point lead over her opponent in Wisconsin, but Biden is only leading Trump by 2 points. That's a 7-point difference. In Nevada, Senator Jackie Rosen has a 2-point lead, but yet Trump has a 4-point. The senator has a 2-point lead, the Democrat, but yet Trump is picked in a 12-point lead. My gosh, see that? Okay, Mike in Frisco, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hi, Mike.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think your point is, can the Democrats change their views based on the way the polling's going?
Not the Democrats, but anybody who normally wouldn't support Trump. Can they be changed in the next 5 months based on what they've already changed? Can they be changed back?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because the Trump derangement syndrome, I think, is so bad that people don't listen to logic.
Well, these people have already gotten over that and are supporting Trump. The ones I'm talking about. But what I'm asking you is, can they be brought back to Biden? But can he actually turn around why they've turned away from him? The ones who have.
I think they can.
Okay.
I believe these people are so wishy-washy. I've got a neighbor friend of mine close friend. We hang out together, and we're both on the total opposite ends of the spectrum. And he will believe anything that the mainstream media tells him. If the mainstream media tomorrow came out and said that Trump eats babies, he will believe it. And I think that's how easily influenced those people are.
But he would never vote for Trump. The polls are coming out saying Trump's going to win right now. So my question is not that guy, because that guy will not be changed. I'm talking about the people that have already been changed. Can they be changed based on the economy, the immigration, Gaza? They've already changed to Trump. Those ones I'm talking about. The ones that are showing Trump would win if the election was today.
Okay.
Not the guy who hates Trump that you're talking about.
No, I see where you're going. I to be honest with you, I don't know.
And that's
because
fair.
I think when Clinton was running, they had a beautiful statement, and it's the economy, stupid. And I think now it's biting them because it's the economy, stupid.
Right, and that's the point. I got to roll, but I appreciate your call tonight, Mike. I agree, and that's why I don't think it can be turned around in that regard. All right? So I think that I know you don't know. I don't know for sure either, but I think can't be turned around. It's too late. Appreciate your call, brother.